it is my job to be professionally worried about all of these issues, and of course we are worried about any group, in this instance the far right, the extreme far right, but it can be other groups as well, that stir up hatred, anger, division, polarization. And of course the thing that we're particularly interested in policing is where these activities are precursors to violence, or are inciting violence themselves. So yes, we definitely worry about that, and I get paid to worry about these things professionally. In terms of what we do, I mean, there are so many levels to that. So I guess if I start at the community level, during this disorder, I was reminded actually of growing up in Hartlepool back in the 1970s, when the refugee crisis at the time was coming from Vietnam, and there were quite a number of Vietnamese families that were relocated into Hartlepool. And although I was only very young, I remember it because my mum was on a sort of reception group to meet families, help them settle in, help them understand our local culture and how things work and happened in Hartlepool, and do all of that. I suppose what we would now call integration work, but it was community building in a way. And I remember being in and amongst these Vietnamese families as a young kid, and how valuable a life experience that was for me. But I'm sure well received for the families that were arriving. And if I contrasted that actually with some of the what we've seen in recent times, to how well integrated into our local towns and villages and cities some of these families that have fled war and disorder across the world to end up needing refuge here. And policing, I think, has a key role to play in that. So that's the first thing I'd say, is that, and in fact I was chatting to a colleague recently who was telling me the story of a police community support officer who was doing exactly that. All of the outreach work, helping people to feel like they belonged, like they could settle in, like they could understand the local environment, understand some of the local customs and cultures, get an appreciation of the customs and cultures of the people that were arriving as well. And so that community building integration work is ever so important. And of course, plenty of people have got a role in that: local authorities, voluntary organisations, you name it. But policing definitely has got a role in that. I think the next thing that we can do is to take on, at the other extreme, the perpetrators and offenders in this. And hopefully in the recent disorder, we've demonstrated that when we work quickly across the system with Crown Prosecution Service and others, and I'm extraordinarily grateful to Director of Public Prosecutions, who's actually speaking tonight at the Superintendents Association conference, for how speedily they responded to our investigations to bring extreme perpetrators to justice. And we need to keep doing that. And then I think in the space in between, I welcome the early comments and observations from the new government, that they think the time is right for us to have a proper community cohesion strategy, combating extremism strategy. I think that's absolutely right, that we put our energy and efforts behind those things